Hey, good morning, everybody.
It's only an hour long, right?
Yeah.
I'm only one.
Okay, guys, no internet this morning, at least for some of us.
I got it.
Yeah, I know, you private individual. I'm calling the meeting to order, after trying to get on the internet. It's 9:02 a.m. and we're gonna start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Sherry, would you, Williams?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okie dokie, Alex. Let me turn on Sandy. Oh, I can't yet. She gotta push her button. Sandy, can you push her button? Or is it dead? Okay. No. All right, if you could do the roll call.
Logan.
Here.
Bullock.
I got one. Oh,
Butler. Oh, wait.
forgot to go back and
I have-
tell her.
Oh, this is the right one. Freeman.
I am present.
Newquist.
Here.
Richmond. Trinier.
Jackie, say
Here.
Here, present, sorry. People talking to me.
Do we have a quorum?
Well, we
Yes,
may
Sherry.
have to add Sherry Williams to the mix. Yeah,
We'll be
yeah.
good.
I'm not sure where everybody is today. It's raining.
And it's early.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we did announce the change in the time and Tim was kind enough to send out an email, but, okay.
You said it last month though, so.
Yeah, yeah. So we've got the approval of minutes, for the May 12th, motion by Newquist,
Second Logan.
second Logan, roll call please.
Logan.
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Newquist.
Yes.
Trinier.
Yes.
And Williams.
Yes.
Motion. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, just to clarify, we do have a quorum and we don't need member Williams, but,
We always need.
well, we need her. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We don't need her to make a
I'll
quorum.
stick up for you.
Thank you. That was very nice. And member Bullock just arrived.
Oh, no, I don't want to talk. You're too much.
Okay, so we're going to start with chapter 150, the building code. That's her side. She sits on the, I get that. I always sit on that side. I feel really discombobulated when I'm on the other side of the table. We're creatures of habit.
I'm confused. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't like the corners either.
What is this?
You don't get a microphone, you don't get as much space. It's terrible. All right, so moving on to our first item, which is chapter one, wait a minute, why does that say 159? What am I reading wrong?
You're reading new business, we're on old business.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure enough, we're on old business, chapter one. I can't work without my,
So,
okay, without my iPad. We're on chapter 150. So, Mr. Mock, any
Yeah.
updates?
Yeah, we, last time you guys looked at it, you said there was some Scrivener errors you wanted fixed, and I said it'd be better for me to fix them and bring it to you.
Yep.
Because you also had a question. But on page 27, I put where it said CA below, I put A in quotation marks as you asked, so that's been done.
Okay.
If you go to page 39, I straightened out that chart so it was more readable. And you asked me what those little initials were. RH is relative humidity and M is mean,
M is me?
mean temperature,
Oh, mean temperature, okay.
mean. But
No.
that was the two things that I had to make that chart more readable and I did. And I fixed the little quotations on the A. So unless you had something different than last month, it should be ready to go.
I think everybody's okay. Thank you for putting the Julie number in there. That was
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
good.
I
don't
didn't
know if
realize
that
they
was
changed
new,
that,
but-
but I did. They
Yeah.
did.
Anything from any of the members? Any questions?
that's all I know.
Yeah. I would have to say the same. So, do we want to take a motion to approve this? Send it to executive. Yep, yep. Motion by Freeman, second Logan. You know what? No, I think we got to have a roll call. Sorry.
Logan,
Yes.
Bullock,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Newcliff,
Yes.
and Trinier.
Yes. Awesome, guys.
Williams in there now.
We don't.
No, we don't need her.
Because we
We
don't
found
need-
out.
right.
Yeah.
We need her.
We need her, but not for quorum.
Today.
Not for quorum.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, we always need her to be here. Now we're on to new business unless somebody else has some other old business. So first chapter, 159. I know I had one question. And it's just, I'd like to know the background on letter A, amount of land required, 1 acre per 10,000 of population. Where do we come up with that? And why do we have people within Will County? And I'm pretty sure it's also in Will County that do not have a library district.
That's two separate questions.
Yes,
The-
you're right.
I'll answer the second one first.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll answer the second one first. Because other than within a municipal border, where a municipality can create its own library district. If anybody in an unincorporated area wants a library district, they have to create it, just like a mosquito abatement district,
Okay.
or just like any other special district. It would have to be done by referendum. So we may have people in Will County without a library district because nobody that lived close enough by them ever petitioned to put to a vote whether they wanted a district or not.
Mostly they don't want to pay the taxes.
Right,
I
but
would
that
imagine.
was the answer on that. Now, the second half of it,
Mhm.
it is not a statutory requirement. It was just a requirement whenever this was originally created that the county board came up with to do 1 acre of land per 10,000 of population. And again, a lot of these figures are not really set to get 1 acre of land. It's set to require cash donations to a district that would be there or equivalent to what the cost of an acre of land is. And
Well,
it's,
that could be a lot now.
well, yeah, but it's prorated, because
Right.
if your subdivision doesn't have a big enough population, it'd be a fraction of whatever that would be, because it's how many more people you're putting into the district. I talked to, I didn't really talk, it was all email. Brian Radner on this one. And he said that this has been in existence for a very long time. He didn't even know how it came into existence. But he sees no changes with it because it's working fine and all the builders and subdividers know what the rules are and nobody's complaining.
Okay. Just interesting. Member Newquist.
So I was a little confused when I was reading this. So this only applies to unincorporated Will County. I mean, I understand that. So I'm a builder and I build a new subdivision in unincorporated Will County. And let's take the first case where that area is part of a library district. I mean, that's not very common, but it is possible. So it is part of the library district now, and there's a library. So that's when I make I have to make a cash donation now, right?
Right, even if there's a no, the library district under paragraph C has the ability to determine if they'd rather have land or cash.
Okay, so let's say the library, they don't need the land, so they're gonna take the cash. So I'm the builder and now I have to give this money to the library district.
Correct.
But what if I build that same subdivision in an area that doesn't have a library district?
You don't have to do it
You don't have to do it at all? You get off scot-free?
because there's no district to give the money to.
Boy, that doesn't seem right exactly.
Yeah, but it's no
somehow,
different
but-
than the people that if you're selling a house in the one district, those people pay taxes to a library. You're selling a house in another district, those people don't have to pay taxes to the library. The fact that the unit of government isn't there, you can't collect money for a unit
Yeah.
of government that's not there.
And they have to file a referendum to ask
Right,
to be
they'd
a
have
part
to
of the
have a
district.
referendum So, is this like state law or is
It's
this?
based on state law. It's not
I
state law.
understand the land
State gives us the ability to
Make it.
require library district contributions. I do not believe it was mandated on us. We had the ability to do that and we chose to do that. When land use brought that forward years ago after the law passed, the county board at that time determined, because I remember it, because I'm like, where'd this come from? But the state law allowed this to happen and everybody agreed that it was a good thing, so they passed it.
Mhm.
Okay, so if I live in that area with no library district, I know this is outside the scope of this, so I'm not really expecting an answer. It's, so how they have to do a referendum, I understand, to be part of the library district, but would it be limited, would that referendum be limited to that subdivision? Or does it have to be the entire township or?
It would be however they worded the referendum.
Right, and if they were annexing to a new, say they're on the edge of a library district and they're annexing to it, it would be not just them, it would
But
be.
the existing
right,
library
and both would
district.
have to pass independently.
Okay,
So the whole thing as a whole would have to pass, but also the people in the little district would have to, the new district would have to be in favor of it.
got it.
We actually had somebody in my library district. We had 2 libraries and one of them left and joined a different library district. It was the Fountaindale Library in Romeoville decided they no longer wanted to be a part of the Bolingbrook Fountaindale Library, and now they're the White Oak Library and they belong to Lockport.
Okay.
And I don't know logistically what all had to happen to make that happen. I don't know what they did, but that's what happened.
Okay,
It's
well, if
weird.
this is working, I don't
Yeah.
feel any compelling need to change it.
No,
mean,
I didn't either. It just, I wanted to figure out where the 10,000 came from.
Yeah,
And
Somebody just came
somebody
up with
made
it.
up.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
And it was never, no builder ever challenged it, so it can't be outside the realm of reality.
I mean, I live in a municipality and our library was built in a municipality. But I'd be shocked if we had more than 2. I'll be generous. I'll say it's 6 acres. We have over 70,000 people in Bolingbrook. You know what I mean? So I was just trying to understand, because I don't think it's 6 acres. I don't know how big an acre is, but I don't think it's 6 acres.
Football.
Okay, okay.
No, definitely.
Half an acre?
My percent. Yards like, a normal yard's like a quarter of that.
Okay, well, bottom line, I think our library is 2 football fields.
Just guessing, so.
No, it's,
So do we need a motion?
I'm gonna find out right now. I'm gonna use the data center.
Now we need.
hey, use that data center. We're acquiring minds want to know. We need a motion to move this to the executive committee. Motion by Freeman, second by Newquist. Could I have a previous? Previous Bullock,
Second Logan.
second Logan. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries.
Football field is 1.32 acres.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah, Bolingbrook's is
Raising
probably,
the farmer.
might be 3 acres. Might be 3 acres.
Where do you get that information?
The data center. All right, chapter 160 is the next item on our agenda, school site contribution. This one I also had some weird number questions about. Now, if
Okay.
I can find the right
And,
page.
and again, for this one, according to Brian Radner, they're having no problems with it and didn't ask for any changes on their end.
Right. And again, my question was about size, because I thought it was weird that you had to provide 45 acres for 1,500 students and only 11 acres for 600. But, yeah, no, but Phil explained to me this senior high school, there's not only the sports stuff, but you could have multiple other schools feeding into it, not just the one in this subdivision.
I would think half is a parking lot.
Yeah, that's true.
And again, for these, you got to realize, if you look at page 1 before that, the number of acres needed comes from a state recommendations for elementary and high school spaces. So it's
Yeah, it
not
did say
something
that.
recreated. It came from them and we
It
adopted
did
it.
say that. I missed that. Okay. And I love the fact that they capitalized the word small in 160.03. That was just funny. Go ahead, member Newquist.
So when I read this, the one thing that struck me was the classifications are elementary schools, junior high schools, senior high schools. You know, most districts have grade centers now, so it's middle school, you know.
Well,
I
middle
mean-
school would be equivalent to a junior high and an elementary would be a grade.
But do we need to say that in here?
That's your guys' call. I mean, like, again, land use said they have no trouble dealing with developers on this existing one with this existing language.
Schools know their school, they've just put the kids in there.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
I
would
just, I
exist.
just don't want some developer, and I'm glad it's never happened, saying, well, fifth grade, that's still elementary school. It's a middle school, not a junior high. So we only need 11 acres, you know?
No, fifth grade is a grade school. Sixth grade is the
Well, but a lot of middle schools are,
No, they're 6, 7, 8.
6, 7, 8.
are they? I
Yeah.
think we have- I thought we had one that was fifth in my school district.
Would you be okay if we just said junior/middle high?
Because
No.
the name middle school comes from it's
Can you
based
put your
on the
mic
way
on?
You run that. school.
Dawn? Oh,
Oh,
thank you.
sorry, I'm sorry.
Right, it's more of a,
It's based on the philosophy of the school. So changing something from a junior high to a middle school has nothing to do with what you call it. It has everything to do with what the philosophy is, how you run it. So it's fine to leave it the way it is. Those are,
What review's coming up?
like
Everybody
my
understands that.
great nephew's gonna be in fifth grade and he's gonna be in a middle school.
yes.
It depends
And
on where you're
sometimes
at.
That is also done based on how much space, yes, how many kids are in that school and they can't, the fifth grade, if we move the fifth grade over to the middle school,
Mhm.
do 5, 6, 7 or 5, 6, whatever, that is gonna help us alleviate the class sizes at that building.
Yeah.
So that's the other reason.
I went to high school in 8th grade because there was no more room in our junior high.
But I'm just saying, so by calling it a junior high, we're not, it's not a loophole
No.
that developers can use to build a smaller
No,
school.
it's what the state tells us.
It's what
to
the
do.
state calls them. And again,
That's
this
fine.
comes from the recommendation for elementary and high school spaces published by the state of Illinois. That's the definition they use, whether
Okay.
that's why it's safest to use what they use.
Okay,
Member Freeman.
I
Oh,
was just gonna,
Nope, that's okay. Member Ballas, you have something to say?
Yeah, when they do contributions, goes to the school district. Includes all the kids from 1 to 8. Unless the schools, some schools are grade school and high school, the school district. Then it goes to the school district. It doesn't go to each individual section.
Okay, any other questions? Yeah. No, and it sounds like a lot of this comes from the state, so we probably couldn't change it anyway.
so you need a motion to move?
Yes.
116 Motion Freeman to
Right.
move 160 to July 2nd.
Second Logan,
Motion Freeman, second Logan. Can I get a previous?
second Logan.
Previous by Newquist, second by Logan, all in favor? Yeah, you can.
Oh, the talk's going on. Dennis. Oh, it's 11 o'clock then. Oh.
All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, we're on to chapter 161, capital improvement plan.
I don't think
This is interesting because I think this has a different meaning than what we call a capital improvement plan. Well, we usually talk about a capital improvement plan in relationship to our county buildings,
No, but that's
and our
what it is.
county land.
It's adopted
We
by
don't-
reference.
We don't do any schools. We don't.
No, it's not schools. They just put capital improvement plan in here for whatever reason,
Oh, okay.
because, probably
weird.
because the plans are prepared by land use and all these other things land use deal with.
Okay. I guess, I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing when I said schools, but we've had capital improvement plans go forward in this county. They've actually been written into our budget,
No, and it is, it's adopted by reference.
but we never voted on them or discussed them as a county board. And I want to know if that's legal.
Well, yeah, because if you vote on them, you've considered, even if you choose not to discuss them, if you vote on them, you've discussed them.
But we didn't vote on them. They were just added to our budget.
But then you approve the budget and
Yeah.
that you're voting on.
Well, I know
by
the one year I
reference,
had them
you're-
removed from the budget,
Yeah.
so,
But by
because
reference, you're,
we didn't talk about them.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, transportation, they
Mhm.
have money in their budget to do certain things like what
Mhm.
they're doing out in the, sorry, my voice is trying to go again.
It's not allowed.
In the, is it the Moni area? So they have money in their budget. So when we vote on the budget, we're giving them permission to go
Do
ahead. They
whatever.
don't have to bring it to capital improvement because it's through the IDOT and their special
Yeah,
permissions.
they have a whole lot of special rules
Mhm.
there that nobody's ever given me the legal reason for.
The legal reason, that one's easy. Same with townships.
Well, why didn't they ask you when I asked this question?
The state,
We did.
the State Department of Transportation controls all transportation within the state of Illinois.
Thank you, Phil.
The county has to do everything within state standards unless they get waivers. The townships have to do everything. The municipalities have to do everything unless they get waivers, even if they're home rule. They have to follow the standards unless they determine not to. That's why our highway commissioner is technically a state employee instead of a county employee, even though we fund them, sort of like the state's attorney's a state's attorney. But that's how it's set up that way. And it's to integrate our roadway systems.
Thank you. Because you know what my question was? Why does he get to go out and to bid on things without asking the board first?
Because his power comes from state statute.
It took him 6 months and I finally got an answer, but nothing in writing and nothing that made as much sense as what you just said. So thank you very much. Member Member Newquist.
Well, I didn't think I had a question about this, but now that we've had this conversation, I do. So it says, the county board and county executive hereby adopt the capital improvement plan as prepared by the land use
Yeah.
department.
And planning division.
Planning
So it could
division.
be the capital
So
improvement.
is that
committee.
land use department or planning
No.
division?
Land use department planning. There's planners at the land use to put input into those.
Okay, but see, it sounds like land use department, comma, planning division, which to me is like the planning department of the land use department is the one who prepares this plan.
They do start, the plan starts with them.
Okay, and that includes like our capital improvement plan, which eventually gets incorporated
That's
into
what
our
I'm saying.
budget.
It's not the same thing.
Right.
And I just couldn't figure out what
We-
this really is.
We have,
We have a 5-year plan,
right, we have a
basically.
5-year plan and then our other plans fit within that. They're not supposed to go against it. They'll modify the 5-year plan. The only reason this is here is they're telling people to please look at our other plans because they change so often.
Okay,
That's why it's incorporated by reference.
All right.
got it,
Otherwise, they'd have to have a different one put in maybe once a year or twice a year.
got it.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
It's very
thanks.
confusing the way it's written.
Yeah, so adoption by reference basically means if we make a change to the plan, it's
It's
adopted
automatically part of the code
automatically.
of ordinances.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Can I get a motion? Motion Freeman, second Bullock, previous Newquit,
Second Logan.
second Logan, all in favor? Those opposed, motion carries. It's going forward to the executive committee. And we are now on chapter 162, item number 4, street naming and street signs. And this was hilarious to read. Oh, yeah. But yes, and the
so
weird
you,
part is, I don't know how they could make this apply to every county, so I'm thinking it's just Collier County's adopted this. Because could you imagine what the South Street numbers would be in like Mattoon or Springfield or, anywhere? I just. wow.
we adopted, well, I can tell you, the numbering system.
Mhm.
Kankakee County uses this.
Really?
It's gridded off of State and Madison still. They're north and east, no, north and south roads and east and west roads. Numbers are gridded off of that still. Now, I don't know how far down it goes,
Yeah.
but when you see like 43,000 is the number,
Street.
that's how many blocks it is from State and Madison.
Wow.
And again, Illinois adopted this, and part of when it happened was when 911 came into effect.
Right.
I think state statutes may have required it because 911 came into effect as like in Braidwood, all the people that had 2 and 3 number addresses now have 5 number addresses because it's their grid off of State and Madison for their cross locations.
How does that work inside a municipality?
They exempted the municipalities
Okay.
with
'cause it's
existing
weird in
numbers.
Bolingbrook. Okay.
Braidwood, though, had a screwed up numbering system, and the 911 people lobbied the village to
change.
adopt a uniform one because I used to deliver milk in Braidwood when I was like out of high school. And there was a street in Braidwood where I had an even and an odd number address, both on the same side of the street. Because when they gridded it by give them a number when they build the house.
Yep. Okay. Member
No, I
Logan?
don't think that, sorry.
No, this was really fascinating. Member Newquist?
Yeah, as someone who spent lots of time lost in, all the various townships out by me before GPS, on page number 3, letter E, I was just like, oh my God, you are effing kidding me. And it says the numbers shall increase from east to west, except for Washington and Crete townships. To the east of State Street, the numbers shall increase from west to east. Why, for the love of God, was that ever done
Because
that
State
way?
Madison's the grid and they're located the wrong way from the grid. Perfect example, Joliet right here. Chicago Street is the grid.
Yeah,
You
there's.
go to
Yeah.
Joliet Central, it is 1 east. You go towards the river, it's 1 west. Washington Township and Crete Township are on the other side of State Street if you took it all the way down from Chicago.
Yeah,
So that's why they reversed the numbers.
To the east.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they gridded the numbers different.
Where's Washington Township?
that's
Washington,
Beecher.
yeah,
Although it goes from Route 1, basically all the way to the Indiana state line and down to the Kankakee state
I
line.
totally had it over by Wilmington.
No,
I
no,
had.
no, no.
Washington's
Touches
way
the
east.
All right.
Indiana
It
border.
might go a little past,
Falstead
Route
and-
1, but that's still Crete Township. Once you, if you're, west of Nacky Road, so it probably goes from Nacky Road to the state line down to the, Kankakee County line.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
that's why that's listed that way.
When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that explains so much.
And then again, before they did 911, none of this, we didn't even have this. You did any numbering system you wanted to do. When the state went into 911 back in the 70s or 80s, whenever they did it, they wanted to make it, that was pre-GPS days. They wanted you to be able to grid your way to wherever you had to go by numbers.
Right, yeah. It was a lot more difficult for police and fire back then. And I have friends that have grown up and lived in Chicago their whole lives, and they come out here to the suburbs to do stuff. They can't find their way out of a subdivision because of all the loop-de-loops and curly cues and everything, and there's no straight grid. They look at us and they say, y'all are crazy. Just crazy.
Grew up on a rural route
Yeah.
and they changed it and now it's north 2100
Mhm.
street, west, something number, and it's like,
It's like that in part of Naperville. Although I will say where I grew up in Beacon Ridge, we were a rural route. I don't know if they still consider it that for the mail.
no.
But we didn't have all the weird numbers ever. But if you go to like Wheaton, West Chicago, 21 North, 312, yeah,
And it's like that down, like I said, by Kankakee, Bourbonnais and runs like that too. It's, all the numbers are big like that both ways. Jackie, if I could say one
Yeah.
thing, you talk about the people coming down here with the curved streets.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, I looked into why there are those curved streets. Because a lot of municipalities and counties had lot frontages, and by curving the street, you got a bigger lot frontage and you could put more lots in your subdivision. Because instead of a straight line being 50 feet, when you curved it in or curved it out, you might have got 70 feet on the
Okay.
same size lot
Okay,
because it was street frontage,
so it's all about
money.
space and money. Yeah.
Chair, I would mention that curly cues are not listed in the ordinance there.
Yeah.
I think they're called trending streets officially.
It's funny when they call them trending streets. I was like, what in the
Yeah.
heck? It just was nuts. And then I still, in my mind, cannot understand why we created diagonal streets. It really screws you up when you're trying to find something on Milwaukee Avenue or Ogden Avenue or
Most of the,
Elston,
most
Archer.
of the diagonal streets were there before they set the grid over them.
Oh, because that was the quickest point
That was the-
between 2 points.
Between 2 points, and that
Okay.
street was already there when they gridded. They didn't eliminate that because it was a major thoroughfare and everybody used it.
Okay.
Like Plainfield Road, Route 30,
Yes,
or like you
yeah.
said, Milwaukee Avenue, literally
Yep.
went from Chicago to Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Like I live on Union Avenue, you can literally chase Union Avenue all the way to Chicago. I mean,
Wow.
There's Union Avenue in Chicago, it's basically.
Same theory, yeah.
Okay. Any questions
And
on
then-
this one? Yes, member.
So on page 10, we have these beautiful little maps and charts. They're really kind of fuzzy.
Well-
Especially the one on 10.
They're hard to read, but that's based on, that's what we already have, and when they get printed, they'll be bigger.
Yeah.
They'll be
They'll
clear.
be clear.
Good, because I'm like, it's
When you- if you go
2026 with
online-
our graphics, we should be able to do better.
If you go online and look at our code of ordinances, you can read them. It's just when I had to reduce it to print it to give to you guys,
Mm.
it's
Okay.
sort of blurred.
Yeah, it blurs when you have to reduce it.
Yeah, because it was like, I have that in a couple, like on page 13, that
Yeah.
one is the north-south or east-west streets are a little blurry too.
Yeah.
No, I guess that'll be fine when we go to print. All right, can I get a motion to approve?
Yes, this chapter is so happy.
Motion by Nucleus.
It kind of helped me make sense out of some of it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, when you're walking and you're delivering things to homes, and it's like, all of a sudden, the number changes drastically. It's like, why? What happened to the other 15 houses between these numbers?
I have that on one block in my neighborhood. Okay, motion by Nuquist, second by Logan. Previous Bullock, second Freeman, all in favor? All opposed, motion carries. We are on to item number 5, chapter 163. Another really long one.
Right, it's another, adopt by reference. Again, they had no problem with it from, land use. And, the only thing they wanted to mention to me is that our plan now includes Fairmont and Sugar Creek. But since we're adopting it by reference, they're gonna be adopted by it anyway. Right, right. He told me that it was added later, but since this is adopting by references and it isn't the actual plan itself,
Right,
we're covered.
okay. What is, okay, motion by Freeman, second Nuquist? No, I think Sandy's on to us. Motion by Freeman, second by Nuquist. Can I get a previous?
Previous logo.
Previous Logan. Can I get a second? Second Bullock, all in favor? Those opposed, say aye. The motion carries. Okay, chapter 164. This is the one that just blew my mind.
Before we do anything,
Yes, sir.
I want to address one thing on this.
Mhm.
When I was looking through it, one of the things I do is make sure the statutes are correct. The other thing I do is make sure their links are correct and their terms are correct. If
Oh.
everybody would look at page 31,
This is the one where the link is off?
right,
Okay,
I'm gonna ask you to move to amend it. Now we will correct it before you send it over.
okay.
But I wanted to let you know on page 31, in a couple places, they talk about the University of Illinois Extension Service link. And it gives us a citation, HTTP Urban
I
X.
don't think it's page 31.
Yeah, it is.
It's page 31 on mine. Yeah. And B both. It's in both of them.
Oh, oh, I see it now. Okay,
A and B, number two, A and B both.
okay. I see it
I
now.
tried that link. There's nothing there. I sent it to, Tim Mack. Tim Mack sent it out to our outside, engineer people. And what I'm gonna ask you to amend it to is the Illinois Drainage Guide, a published Illinois education site, Department of Agriculture and Biological Engineering, Illinois. I wrote it all down and I'll have it right.
Okay.
But if somebody make a motion to amend that,
And I just want to say one thing in the
Yes.
second one in letter B.
yeah.
Right after the letters LCR, there's two hashtags or slash
Right,
marks.
it should have
Be
been one.
careful, yeah, because when you do the next one with the update.
No,
Yeah,
and that one, they don't even have, well, anyway, they gave it to me in the form it needs and I'm making it just like that.
okay, wonderful. Can I get somebody to make a motion to amend?
I'll make a motion to amend.
Motion by Newquist to amend the HTTP address on page 31.
Well, we're removing the HTTP address and
Yeah, and
replacing
making it
it,
the
right?
drainage guide,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, making it the drainage guide. So motion by Newquist, second by Logan,
Previous bullet.
previous Bullock,
Second Logan.
second Logan, all in favor.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, so you're gonna make it the drainage guide. All
I'll
right.
make that and plus whatever else you guys suggest.
Know that I had any other suggestions, but I think I had a question.
Yeah, I am just, well, more a comment than a question, so.
Okay, member Newquist.
I mean, I was actually reading this and I realized that I have absolutely no idea, if any of this is even remotely correct or something that needs changing. I mean, I pretty much feel like we're at the mercy of,
Whatever the land
land
use
use at
says.
this. But I did have one question, actually. Hold on a second.
I
I
had a
want to
couple.
make sure I think, oh yeah, okay. So on page 22,
He'll grow on my same page.
down at the very bottom, letter B, they're talking about impervious area. And it says the total proposed impervious area on the surface of the ground must be less than 25,000 square feet. So I guess my question is, what if the project, that number doesn't change with the size of the project? Like I'm thinking of a 6,000 acre solar field, for example. I mean, I know the impervious ground is considered relatively small, but when you're looking at 300,000 solar panels, does the total impervious ground, so what is that by? Like, is that by project? Is that by acreage? Is that?
Sherry, one thing I do want to add, if you'll remember, when we approved this, one of their amendments to their request was not to count the gravel road as impervious.
Right, but I'm just asking in general.
Yeah.
Like what is considered,
Normally gravel would be. but
right,
yeah.
like, and what is that 25,000 square feet per what? Like
Per parcel.
per
oh,
parcel,
Yeah,
per acre?
no, per parcel.
So what if the parcels aren't, so it
If
would,
there are 10 parcels linked together electronically by wires, that's 10 parcels.
okay, but if it's 10 contiguous,
It's still
if it's 10 contiguous parcels.
It's still 10 parcels
It's still
unless they
10
merge the
parcels.
pins into one pin and make it one parcel.
So a pin is a parcel.
Basically,
So this is basically 25,000 feet per pin.
basically.
Okay.
Parcel's a pin.
Okay, that explains it.
Yeah,
Now,
but
where
they
you get in
exempted the
trouble is if
roads.
they try to split their parcels, then you get in an issue because then it's a subdivision rule and then you have more control because they're splitting them.
Okay,
But
I thought you couldn't split pins anymore.
no, you sure you can.
I know you can merge them.
Yeah, you can merge them, you can split them, and if they're neighboring, without even going through the plat act, if you and your neighbor
Well,
want
right, so
to switch
if
5
you've
feet of
got-
edge
yeah.
of your property, you can do that.
You can subdivide.
But no, almost every construction we have, new construction involves splitting a parcel. Even if they buy a farm and put a warehouse in it, they cut that warehouse out of, which is creating new parcels.
Well, we're trying to get away from that a
No,
little
but
bit.
that's
but-
the example. Or residential subdivision,
Right.
same thing. You start with one parcel, which is a farm, and you make it 150 houses, that's 150 parcels.
Okay, but at that point, it's become a subdivision and we've got to follow the subdivision
Right, but
rules.
that's the same
but-
thing.
Okay,
But the water resource ordinance applies to subdivisions too, applies
Right.
to everything.
right, got it.
The
Okay.
theory is you don't want to make drainage issues worse.
I guess what I'm saying is, so it doesn't matter if the parcel is 30,000 square feet or 100,000 square
Correct.
feet, that 25,000 applies no matter the size of the parcel.
Correct.
And that's why a lot of them
A
are
little
going,
weird.
but that's why a lot of them are going to the panel post type, where in the old days they'd lay asphalt.
Right, but even forget about solar farms for a minute. This means that some parcels could literally be all asphalt, all impervious surface, and some parcels, or is it a percentage?
No, it's less, it's gotta be less than 25. You couldn't,
Mhm.
without some kind of variance, you can't,
Pave
I can't
over the whole
buy
parcel.
a big parcel and pave it all over and make a
What
parking
if
lot
my
out of it.
parcel's only 30,000 square feet? This says I could go up to 25,000.
Yes, you could.
But
After
so,
that, you have to ask for a variance.
no, right, but I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, if you buy a 30,000 square foot parcel, you could asphalt over 25,000 feet of it.
Mhm.
If you buy a 200,000 square foot parcel, you can only asphalt up to 25,000 feet of it.
Without a variance.
But again, this
Without a
only, but
variance.
this also only applies to previously agriculture.
Okay,
Property.
that's the part I think I missed.
If it was already in a commercial or industrial property, it
Then it
doesn't
doesn't
apply.
apply.
This,
So-
all these things apply to agricultural parcels that were previous agricultural and you're converting into something.
Okay. That makes more sense to me then.
It doesn't really say that anywhere.
Well, look up above at number 4. The development is of a non-residential nature on an existing agricultural parcel where the impervious surfaces don't exceed 25,000.
It
This is talking mainly about watersheds and things that are coming off of agricultural parcels being converted.
I'm just surprised they didn't give that a whole separate section just for agricultural land being developed, as
So-
opposed to, just stormwater management in general, that's all.
But the trouble is stormwater management's already wrecked when you,
When you start building.
no
Okay.
one, it's been a building there for already 100 years.
Yeah.
You go to the Commonwealth Edison Romeoville site that's closed. This doesn't apply to their existing stuff because their existing stuff was
Built
built
before.
out before this occurred.
Okay.
It's talking new construction.
When did we develop the stormwater management system?
When did we put the plan in?
Yeah, was that really just in 2010?
Yeah, I would say yes. That was the first time we did it.
Member Freeman?
Thank you. So we have been slammed and we're scarred. And solar's gonna come out of my mouth a lot. And I started on page 22 with my solar thoughts. Cause at this point, when it starts to talk about solar, I almost feel like we need to say, you need to go to X section and look up the state solar laws. Because we have a whole section and we're updating it and trying to fix that too. But
That's a good point.
every time solar comes up, like here it is again on page 22, it's trying to break out this little bitty section. And we're gonna come again when we get into wetlands.
Mm-hmm.
Send them back to the the state section. Because they can't cherry pick little sections when it's all under one.
Well, and I think that's why that big project that just passed came back to us saying, we don't want you to count our roads as impervious, because with a project that big, they would have probably went over the 25,000 square feet when you're talking about building multiple roads through, you know, a
But, right, so
parcel, depending on the
my-
size of the parcel.
my thought is, and I talked to Phil a little bit about it, and he's about, should we put something in here that says, please go see section da 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 da.
Everything solar is listed in that
Right.
section,
Because
rather than break it out into the different subsections.
But
Right.
you don't do that with anything else. Why would you want to treat them separately?
because solar's kicking our
And it's
What if
changing.
your psyche down.
But if you want to deal with that, then take solar out of your zoning ordinance entirely and say, you could pass it, you could say all solar programs
you.
have to follow the state.
We want to do that. We don't even want to vote on the special use permit.
No, you
No, I don't
can
think,
do that. You can make it a solar use as of right, as long as it meets all state requirements. You
Uh,
guys could pass that.
Okay,
yeah, I had heard that too.
what do we need to do, Phil, in this committee now?
Change our ordinance.
Bring it to executive and see if they want to move it forward.
That idea.
But yeah,
We could vote on the
but
three
that's
areas.
something you can do.
Some of those sections already.
We
Yeah,
could
but
vote
you
on
can
the
re-
three
you can
areas
redo 'em.
that we could put in
You
there.
can
that-
amend it anytime, anything. It's just,
Then let's do that.
as soon as the state preempted you, there's no reason for you to have it. And then when the citizens complained, look at them SOBs down in Springfield. We had nothing to do with it.
That's what we said all during the
Yeah.
meetings. Go ahead, member Newquist, turn on your light.
Sorry, I brought this up again at land use. And a couple of things. One is, we might want to consider that the laws surrounding solar are changing, you know, as of June 1st. I mean, and well, it is June 1st.
Not in our favor.
Right, not in our favor, but there's been a lot of changes. So in my mind, that is a good reason to make solar a separate section, you know, whether we punt to the state or
But that
whether
would be
we.
a separate section in your zoning ordinance. I don't know if
But-
you need it in water resource ordinance.
Well, that's a good point. But the other thing is, I was told by the state's attorney, we were all told at land use that they don't really believe that we should, that it's a good idea or good practice for us to give the sole discretion to, in effect, we'd be giving it to the Illinois Commerce Commission, because the
They
new,
took it.
right,
yeah,
the
we-
new
yeah.
rule. Well, the new rule says the appeals, you know, if there's an appeal, it goes to the ICC, but they believe that if we want to vote on any of the conditions that we are allowed to control, that we still have to vote on the special use permit. That's what they said.
And-
But
and-
So-
could you, and this is probably more directed to Phil, could you, could we do, I mean, I think that we should leave this in here because we do need to keep track of the water drainage. But, with the conversation that we're having here, we're just a little off track of the water. Could we simply say solar farms, if approved, if meeting all state requirements, will not be voted on in county board. They will only vote on these three things.
Madam Chair.
I would recommend, if you were gonna do something like that, you put the strongest conditions that you're allowed by law to put on every solar farm. You put in your ordinance, we are not allowing any special use permits or variances on these, which you can do. Because the state said you can go up to this point. And then you're back to, it's a matter of right, as long as it's
Meets these
meets
conditions.
these conditions, because of the state statutes, it's a matter of right. However, there's another thing you may want to do. You may want to have a backup that says, if state statute change and they no longer preempt local authority, our default position is this. Which
like
goes
that.
back to what you have right now.
I like that.
But that's something you can do. And here's the perfect example. Do you know how many states had statutes on the books that said, if the Supreme Court's abortion decision is ever returned, abortion is illegal again.
Yeah.
By operational law, when that happened, it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do the same thing with your control
With
over
this-
solar farms.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
I don't
could say
think
if
I
the
read
state
anything. I
takes
just
away,
said, make it clear.
if the state takes away your authority. And again, if you hate solar farms, make the strongest conditions that the state allows apply to all of them. And if you lose a few small ones that you wouldn't have had because they can't make that, too bad for them.
Right.
I would
Okay,
love to do
um,
that, but we were pretty much shut down at land use.
So,
so-
hold on,
Talk
hold
to the
on.
land use state's attorney and share thoughts.
They
Good
should know that, but
ideas.
I'll talk to them.
Um,
The question
Chuck has
I've got
some.
is this, is land use just recently presented, they hired outside counsel and just presented to the land use committee a mandated update of the county ordinances related to solar farms. They just considered them at land use just last week.
Yep.
And so that has been updated at this point. And my question right now is,
Well, it's going to executive.
it's going, no, it goes,
Does it go to the full board?
it
or
goes to
do
the full
it's going
board.
to executive?
it would
Okay.
go to the full board.
Okay.
So the question is, with regard to this ordinance here, does this conflict with what was occurring with, at
The water
land use?
resource ordinance shouldn't conflict with it at all.
But there are a number of solar references,
But our
peppered throughout this ordinance.
conversation in this meeting about changing the overall solar thing might conflict with what
Oh, it
they're
could, but
bringing
you can
forward.
re-amend.
Yeah,
You can change it later. This may
we
be
can
a
change
great.
it on the board floor.
This,
I mean,
all I'm saying is
As long as it's in writing.
not my choice.
the outside expert told you, these are your limits of power should you choose to do it. What I'm saying is if you choose not to do it, you could choose not to do it.
I like the not to
If-
do it
If you
better.
didn't want to if you didn't want to regulate bathhouses, you could have took bathhouses out of your ordinance and there'd be no rules for those.
Not from us.
But
but-
we want to keep them
right.
in there in case they actually,
Or you could, well, again,
It's
whatever they pass right
conscientious.
now, you
But we
could
are-
say
we
that's
are-
your default,
We are,
or you could make it worse.
we are mandated right now per statute to have an updated solar ordinance in there. And that's what
Right.
land use is working on right now. and It has
Right.
to be done by September.
Right, and you
So,
can
yeah.
have that, but there's nothing in the mandate that I'm familiar with from reading the state statute that says you have to. There's an assumption you're going to want to control them.
We don't have to
You
control.
don't
it.
have to control them.
We could just tell them, this is the state rules. This
If
is
you
what
did
you
not
can do by
want to-
right.
this is where we can
If you
control.
wanted to allow, hell, I don't know, and you would never do this.
Well,
If you wanted to
correct.
allow people to shoot on their own property everywhere, no matter what their zone is, you could do that.
Wait, we don't allow that? No.
You don't.
Where you live.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? You could do that. There's nothing in the state statute that's forcing you to do this. What the state statute is forcing you to limit your control. It's not enforcing, it's not telling you you have to control these things.
You're right.
Well, as I understand, the state statute says adopt an ordinance with regard to solar that comports with the state statute, or the state statute essentially will take effect regardless.
exactly.
And-
But our ordinance
Yeah.
could be that we're gonna follow this, you get
You have
by
to
right.
follow all the
the state
requirements of the
statute.
state.
But
Well-
then we lose our ability to require
exactly.
agricultural fencing. We lose our ability to, I don't know what the vegetation.
You take
thing
yourself out of
is.
the dialogue entirely.
Right.
And also to
Fencing
require
is-
things like burying, you
You
know,
could
the
add
underground
that
versus above.
with the
ground.
exception of ...
Right, those are all
But there's no
conditions.
reason though, but there's no reason you have to make it a special use permit. You could say you get it as
I've
a,
asked this
you
question
get it as
over
a
and
matter
over.
of right if you follow all these,
State rules.
the most stringent state rules there are.
Would you please talk to land use about the attorney
I'll talk
because
to the attorney,
because
but they know that. They should
Good
know
morning,
that.
Judy.
ask Judy here, how many times have I brought this up at land use? You know, where why are we even voting on this? Why do we need to give it
We've all
a special
felt that
use
way.
permit? Right, and I get shut down every time.
Member Gottlieb, you have something
Right.
to add?
So I hear everybody saying that stuff, but the difference is, as long as we have a special use permit, you have the ability to have the conversation with the solar developer. I just spoke to one, she stayed after our meeting on Thursday, I don't even know what day it is. And we talked about a new one in Manhattan. And I mentioned some things. Well, I told her, to make your life easier, call the road commissioner, have that conversation now. She already did because I saw the road commissioner. There's a farm, only one farm in the area that has a home on it. I said, can you move it to the west? Well, it just turns out that this part is floodplain, so they're not hitting that area. But if you don't have a special use permit, you don't have the solar developers coming, you can't have that conversation. Because most of them do want to work with you, and we can ask them to do things that they will just naturally do. So I think it's a benefit to keep it. I know it's a big pain in the eye because of many hours sitting there talking to everybody, but I think it's a good thing to keep it. I would not want to just give it to the ICC. If you don't have an ordinance at all, can go to the ICC. You lose complete control. At least we have some control. They know they have to come to us for a conversation.
I also think it encourages the developers to offer sweeteners to the municipalities, with some of which are, quite substantial.
And it's, they do kind of give benefits to offset the negative impacts to different organizations and things like that. So I think there are benefits to it. We can determine what the landscaping should be, or if we don't want any landscaping. I mean, I would not want to let it go. I've said it all along. Other people like Joe, he said, oh, we should just not do it. And I think that we should not let it go. No county wants to let it go. When I say it in the Wind and Solar Task Force, they don't want to let it go. Because everyone feels exactly like I do. And who knows what the environment will change if you get a new governor, or you get new legislators on either side of the aisle. They may have a different conversation in 5-10 years from now, who knows? I think it's good to have something in place. I like the idea of what Phil suggested, to say, hey, if the control comes back, we wanted to do this. We didn't think about that. I like that a lot. I would recommend that as a change for sure, especially even to our existing one.
Because I would like to still be able to vote on the conditions that we can control, but not necessarily have to give the perception that we're approving the solar or
And that's the issue.
It
That's
doesn't
the
work that
issue.
way.
Right.
You're gonna vote on the conditions.
So we do
You
lose our
have to vote
ability
on
to
the
vote.
ultimate outcome.
We have to vote on the whole special use. And that's what basically what the land use attorneys
Oh, yeah,
have been
definitely.
saying.
If you want it, and again, the only loophole I said is if you give everyone the most strenuous conditions you're allowed to give, there's nothing to vote on.
I think they're already there.
So we could like add those conditions kind of like permanently, but we can't, because if we don't vote the special use permit, then the ICC is gonna get to basically,
Well, if you have it, if you basically say, if you meet all these conditions, 99% of them are gonna meet those conditions, so they don't have to have any vote.
yeah, that's a good point.
Do you know what I mean? They'll engineer it to meet the conditions that are the most legal conditions,
Yep.
because they don't wanna go to the ICC either. They
No,
just
you're
wanna
right.
build. And they can have an engineer design that way.
I guess the question is it worth it for us to have to take that vote, that responsibility versus laying on any kind of special requests, whether it's a donation or whether it's
We can't
the
request
fencing.
donation.
I mean,
That's,
That stuff all happened without us.
right.
it does,
It's
but
supposed
but
to.
if we didn't
Build
have,
them a new.
no, but if we didn't have to
They
vote on it,
They have asked me, I've had
No,
certain
not all
solar
of it
companies
happens
come and
without
ask me, what are a couple organizations in your area? And I mentioned the food pantries, out in Crete areas, 'cause that's where they're
One thing
impacted.
From our land use perch, when we vote on this,
Turn your mic
you
on.
will,
You're not.
you will donate a new fire truck. You will donate a new whatever. Like,
no, but
that
if we,
happens through the conversation with the communities.
Right, but if we give them carte blanche, they're gonna take carte blanche and just do it and not give back at all, is
She's
my
probably
thought.
right about
Correct.
that.
if we didn't have to vote on
Capitalism,
it, there's
I
less
just-
of a.
She's right about that. I just listened to the book 1929. I mean, capitalists will take and grab everything they can grab that's on the table and more if you let them.
They are.
Or
Say
is
that
there a
again.
way that we can have anything in our ordinances that would, okay, first of all, nothing in our ordinance is gonna supersede the new,
State's law.
No,
okay? Is there anything that we can do like to guide this development not to encumber the village development? Like, 'cause,
That's part of the
Fleming is
new law.
right in the middle of
That's
No
part of the new law. No, they
No,
get to
no.
now.
Municipalities are gonna be affected too.
Yeah,
Well,
they
are
get that
affected.
mile and a half now that used to be the buffer, not anymore. If I understood what just got approved, Phil's shaking his head.
Yes, no, they took that out.
Back to my original question, can we put something in there to direct these people, even with the water management, back to this whole solar thing? Like a little, it says in solar developments, it's talking about, the ground cover vegetation, et cetera, et cetera. At the end, say,
For further information,
Yeah.
please see chapter such and
Hey.
such, section, blah, blah, blah.
a full breakdown can be found here.
I like having a whole separate section on solar, even if we're repeating, you know what I mean? Like if
The
we're
other
just
parts.
lifting out and putting it because it's easier for us. I mean, at that point. I mean, and also there's some other really confusing things in here when it comes to solar that I had questions about
Right.
when we get
You're
there.
gonna hear me talk a lot.
Yeah.
But that was my thought. It was, when this solar is mentioned,
get it.
it's important, we need to leave it here. But I do think that we also need to direct people to
All to one spot.
another
Do
section.
they do that in the land use department by any chance? Do they hand out a booklet on
They have a
solar?
checklist.
But they don't hand out booklets on it.
Well, I said booklet,
But no, it's the default position in Illinois and most of the United States is everybody's presumed to know the law. And it's your
Yeah.
fault if you can't find it.
okay.
But we do have a checklist that we
Which is,
hand out.
honestly, that's why they came back to us, I'm sure, this section on impervious. And
To get
asked
the
for that
wetlands.
variance for the 25,000 square
Oh,
feet.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I get what you're saying. It's up to
But we-
everybody to know the law, but
We don't give variances. PCC does.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
but
Yeah.
if PCC denies them, they go to you to give them.
Not on a variance.
We can't vote on variance.
We can't vote on variances.
You have an appeal process on variances. What are you talking about?
We do have
If
to
I
follow
get denied a
the
variance, I
You-
have the right to go to the county board to overrule it.
yeah,
If I get a
Okay.
variance,
I think so.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Huh,
If I
don't
get
remember that.
a variance, the objectors don't have an
Okay,
appeal
but
right.
they can come to us.
Right.
Right.
All right.
But if the applicant
And
you get an appeal if they reject an application.
You know what, we did that with the guy with the farm and the number of animals and all that.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
And
the
that's
only
why
one.
they asked
Right.
for a variance of the 25,000 square feet at the full
Right.
county board because PZC had said no to the whole project.
Because they just said it doesn't fit, right?
Right, and they don't have to stand for election. It was easy for them. But yeah, that's why they came to us with the variance on the 25,000 because they got a no in PZC.
And there is a theory in groundwater management that gravel's really pervious.
Corey, I think
Yeah.
it's pervious.
It slows it down, but it still lets
Yeah,
it
it
go
still lets
through.
water go through.
It's not
Absolutely.
watertight.
And I say that from being a pond owner, we have, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet, no, 2 feet of gravel in our bog, and that's what serves as our filter.
Right,
We
it
don't
goes
use the
through, right.
filter. It goes up through the gravel and it filters out the poo.
Doesn't it depend about the amount of clay in the soil though? Like the gravel compacts. the
No, that
clay
clay's,
in it
clay's a
makes
totally
it-
different issue.
Okay, well, we have a lot of clay in the soil out by us. That's why I'm.
So I
Only
hate-
because they took off the topsoil.
So I hate to put this on you, Phil, but is there a way you could word that so it doesn't sound like I said it?
Well,
Where do you want it?
no,
At the end,
what you're talking
Thank-
about,
No, but he's saying we.
you
we
want to have a
figure it.
separate, what I'm questioning is, do you want to have a separate number that's all solar related? Then we'd have to pull it out of several different areas and put it into that number. That's,
that's a whole nother game.
but basically, that's what you're asking for.
Yeah. That's what you're asking for, because you can't just tell them to go find this other section. It should be its own section.
Well, but
Because-
isn't it the section that that just went into effect? That's going, that we're gonna be voting on, it's that section.
I don't know if they're putting that all in one spot, are they? Or are they putting that in multiple places throughout our ordinances?
One
It's-
thing.
I think it's basically just an ordinance, like saying that we're updating,
We're gonna follow the
updating
state
the
statute.
state statute. We're gonna blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's.
So that means
it's-
they're updating different sections, though.
No, it's about 3 or 4 pages long. Was that?
I haven't listened to it yet.
So,
it is its own section, but it doesn't go through every single solar thing. It's basically, I don't have it with me. I mean, it's,
Well, I think it hits everything. It repeats it, different areas, different winds.
but it
same
doesn't,
thing,
but it doesn't
colors.
talk about, like the
A number,
water,
chapter.
you know, water management. It doesn't talk about the
The wetlands,
25,000, you know, square feet. It
Because
talks-
that didn't change.
Right, it talks about it.
And I
Okay, but
think the state
nothing
statute changed
is
that.
in one section.
They're changing the
If I'm-
zoning
The
rules.
setbacks.
It was in different.
Right.
And
sections.
a mile and a half. And that,
Yeah.
I'll have to listen to your meeting, but I think they're just making some overall changes that we would then somebody would be expected to update that in the actual ordinance.
Right, it would be
In the
incorporated into
attachments.
it.
Hold on, let me. see
Yeah,
if I
because
can
there's
pull it
not,
up.
like, they didn't give you a separate new ordinance number. It's just different sections within all of our ordinances would be changed by what we would be voting on at the full board meeting.
So back to just the water, you're saying I would need a whole new, pull all solar out and put it in a whole new like section?
No, that's one of the things you said, can we put all solar in one place? That would require that. For this, in solar farm developments under 11, are you saying to strip that out of there and put a separate solar farm? It isn't a separate.
No, she was saying,
No.
put a note, go see this new chapter.
Or the land use section, go see this section on solar.
Hold on.
Cause I
It's-
do believe
Well,
we,
then where you would put that, so you know, and that's real easy, once we have it, you just put it into parentheses.
It's multiple ordinances, you guys.
That's what I said. It's
Yeah.
in multiple ordinances.
The first one is relating to battery storage.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have 155-9, 220, energy storage systems. Then it goes down to, it's still energy, 155-9.245, commercial solar energy facilities.
it's spread out all over the place.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it
And again,
is.
the people are tasked with
Supposed to
looking at
load
them.
the whole law, no matter where it lies.
And there's something else I wanted to tell you unrelated. I left in this provision all the previous, you know, I usually took out the previous versions.
Yeah,
When you're talking about water usage and grandfather rights, I left them in here sort of like we're doing in the zoning one, just so you know.
okay.
I have a question.
Which was helpful because that's how I figured out that we did this in 2010. Without that number in there, I wouldn't have
So
known. that.
I don't know. My thought was just to put a little blurb saying, go see another section, but I'm finding out there isn't just a section.
Right. Should
And-
we maybe postpone this until we make the changes to?
Yeah, go ahead, member Bullock.
So I
I feel like what we're trying to do is make chapters, and none of this is chapter related. There's things repeated in different sections because
Right.
it needs to be here and it needs to be here. There is no, oh, are you going to build a subdivision? Here's your information. They have to look stormwater, you have to look at all of the sections to see what you have to do. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, there's some guidance.
But-
I don't think we want to start doing chapters.
Like, so you know,
For different
land use
projects.
gives you all these,
Right.
it tells you you have to do all these.
Right,
Right.
okay, Chuck, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I think so. I think what's happening right now in land use is we've had a consultant go in and take a look at all
All
the
the
areas of our ordinances across the board where solar
It's meant-
is mentioned and to see whether it complies. And that includes in this section here that you're looking at right
Mhm.
now. And they're gonna, and they've made recommendations already, and it's still moving through the land use process, but they've made recommendations about what complies and what doesn't comply. And the land use committee is getting ready to essentially approve or adopt that, you know, or forward that onto the county board for approval. And that includes certain sections here. I was just looking at what's there and I looked up 164 and we're dealing with some of the same sections that are here related to other areas. So it might, again, I might suggest that you might want to postpone this until action is finally taken from land use and that moves up and then come back and, you know, adopt those or put those or whatever format you would have to do to put those into each section of the ordinance.
I don't want to postpone and I'll explain why. Phil wants to be done. I want this committee to be done. We approve these and our agreement is if there are any changes that staff will automatically go
Right, it'll automatically-
put the change
And they
in.
pass that after the fact, it'll amend this.
It'll amend this ordinance.
What we're mainly trying to do is get it all in, for lack of a better term, uniform look.
Okay.
Right.
I-
And
you know, I
correct
took out some stuff where the
scrivener stuff.
statutes aren't there, but we
Yeah.
weren't trying to really make policy. We're trying to get
Correct.
it all look the same.
That makes sense. Again, because, so again, if land use adopts something and the full county board adopts something related to.
It'll-
It'll
So
automatically-
it'll automatically override in here.
Right,
Yeah.
as long as this is done first, it'll override that.
Yeah, the problem in the past was we didn't do that. And then sometimes there were minor changes made to
And it
update
didn't
it,
make
but
it
it
into
didn't
the
all
code.
jive. Right. And the biggest one that we had the most trouble with was it chapter 10, chapter 30,
Yeah,
30, part 10, chapter 30, whatever it was. But the rest of these have not really, we have
No.
not made huge changes. We've
Well,
not
I-
made huge changes today.
I'm okay moving on. It is in here. I just thought we should like,
Give them their own chapter. But I'm with member Bullock. If we give them their own chapter, then well, we need our own chapter on houses, our own chapter on schools, our own chapter on,
then you're
it-
redesigning the whole thing.
yes, you're really, really reformatting how we do ordinances. And that really would confuse a lot of people.
is there anything in the new law that just passed in June 1st that we need to add here as well? Obviously, they're
It's gonna be
That's what
done.
the first-
Yeah, that's what the
Okay.
consultant.
We have it in
I'll-
September.
I'll stop until my next one,
Okay,
What's your next one?
page 24.
okay, my
Sure.
next one's page 30, so I'll let.
She'll.
Is that gonna be the same kind of thing we just talked about?
It's not, it's site runoff requirements. Down on 2A, off-site outfall. It says it shall be evaluated. Who's doing the evaluation here?
The land use department does it, but they usually have you go to soil conservatory district. They
Yeah.
do that
Soil
evaluation.
and water.
But when it says evaluated, it does get evaluated. Now, if you wanted to hire your own engineer to make that evaluation, they will let you.
Okay, because I was like, I don't know, so I had to ask that question.
All right, page 30.
Okay, page,
I got a question.
oh, go ahead, Vince.
Oh,
sorry.
you go, Vince.
Oh, yeah.
He was waiting for it.
Just clarification, who is the chief subdivision engineer and why does that person, he or she, have so much power?
Because state statutes require you usually to have a chief subdivision engineer. Who it is now?
And it says that they can.
It is a,
They can overrule almost everything, it looks like.
well, they can if it is not
Stormwater.
done correctly by staff, the engineer is the expert. Right now, our chief subdivision, because I asked the same question. It,
Is he with land use?
no, yes, he's through land use. It's a contract employee through land use.
Okay.
That is an engineer, licensed engineer. Years past, we had our own in-house chief subdivision engineer. Sometimes when they quit or retired, we used the highway engineer. Wore both hats. When Sheldon Latz was here for 2 years, he did both jobs. But right now it is, and I think the guy's employed with Hamilton Engineering.
Yeah, we use them a lot.
We have an outside guy that is our licensed engineer, that's our chief subdivision engineer.
So this is probably a really dumb question. Why don't we have our own then?
They determined it was cheaper to use somebody else because we're not as busy as we used to be.
We're not building a lot of houses in the unincorporated.
Okay.
No, but
I like that idea.
for years we've had our own. But lately it's like engineers make big bucks and it was cheaper to hire them on an ad needed basis than to have one in staff.
Mhm.
All right.
That the only question?
Yeah, that's it. I was just curious who it was.
Page
I had the
30.
same question. I didn't know who it was. I had to call up and ask.
Cool, thank you, sir.
Okay, page 30. I'm looking at 164.024 down on B, conservation planning and performance standards. So who determines that? And is that only done like at the beginning of when like when I don't get it, because these are farmlands. Most of them have been farmed for years and years and years.
Except within farmland is a classification of conservation land, which you determine it's zoned agricultural, it's farmland, but you're not going to crop it. It's going to be left as trees. It is going to be left as native prairie or whatever.
So
So our standards don't apply to that because you're not actively disturbing the soils.
So at the beginning, when it says applicability, regulations under this section apply only to croplands, pasture lands, farmsteads, and outbuildings associated with those agricultural practices? Like what agricultural practices?
No, again, agricultural practices falls on anything that's zoned farm, and most conservation easements are within that criteria.
But this doesn't say anything, I mean, about a conservation easement.
Well, that's why they talk about and it doesn't have to have a formal easement recorded, but where it talks about under B, conservation, planning and performance standards, that's where they talk about conservation practices that are approved.
So
You can
like
have
who
those
who
things.
controls that?
The state.
I mean, if it's an existing farm, does somebody periodically come out and check their compliance with the conservation practices?
I have no idea. I would say probably not.
So then what's the point of this?
Because we have different standards for those.
I mean, I realize this is in regards to water resources.
Right,
I
it's for,
mean,
it's for
not-
flooding, it's for groundwater.
Okay,
Where you have vegetated grass waterways, which means your water's gonna run through, instead of a underground tile, you've got a ditch that has grass in it, and when it rains hard, the water's going that way.
okay, so this is if you're using croplands, pasture lands, and farmsteads basically for water.
No, part of it you always do. If farms don't control water, their crops rot.
Right,
And houses flood.
Yeah.
right. I guess I was just completely
And
not
when it gets into the
understanding, like, what is the point of this?
People who do this probably know.
Does this have anything,
I'm guessing this is a state rule.
does this have anything to do
Okay.
with, if I decide not to farm my land, I can't just let it sit there. I have to make sure that something is in place to deal with with the stormwater, which is what chapter is. This is water resource
Right.
ordinances.
Right, it says.
So you can't
comes-
just let it sit there. You can't say, I'm not gonna farm that.
You
for
have
the
to have
next million
drainage, you
years. I
have
gotta-"
to-
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't want the runoff. When I read that, I thought of all the chemicals, the manure,
Mhm.
you need some kind of drainage in place so that your toxins aren't going.
Turn your mic on,
Right
Mike.
into the creeks.
Okay, and I guess I was just wondering, I started out wondering who monitors this? Like,
Unfortunately, not enough people, because if you travel the Mississippi River to where it goes into the Gulf, it is full of fertilizer and
Yeah.
toxins that are destroying the land at the southern end of the Mississippi.
so it's basically a complaint system like everything else.
Mhm.
If my farmland, I'm not handling the water runoff right, so it's flooding my neighbor's pasture.
And again, this, you read further to the next page where I said we had to make the change.
Right,
There are standards, or right now, the Illinois Agricultural Department at U of I has what these standards are for runoff. You have to
Okay.
follow that it's referenced.
okay, that's it. I was just like totally confused by
I
that.
had a question on that one too. Do we need to add solar to this?
That has nothing to do with
Water,
This.
water.
We're only
It
talking about
does,
focus on
based
water.
on the education that we've had about the,
No.
Okay.
Focus on the water.
Well, it wouldn't fit in this section under cropland because solar is not cropland. It's converted to solar.
okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, any other questions?
Yes.
I have
Finding
one on
your-
a definition. Okay, go ahead, Member Newquist.
Sorry about that. So,
51.
I'm on page number 51 and, okay, number C, requirements for
Letter C.
Letter C,
I
require,
honestly did not talk to Sherry before this
oh, is
day.
this your question too? What requirements for wetland delineation? A wetland, okay, here it says, a wetland delineation report shall be submitted along with the site development permit application, et cetera, et cetera. Is that site, let me go through all my questions first, because they're kind of related. Is a site development permit application the same thing as a special use permit?
No.
No.
And then it says, the applicant shall identify the boundaries, extent, et cetera. And I'm assuming that goes along with the wetland delineation report shall be submitted along with the site development permit application. But then it says, that a qualified this is determined by or under the supervision of a qualified wetland professional using an on-site wetland procedure within 3 years of the initial permit application. So the question is, and this is what comes up over and over again right now in land use, is does this wetland report have to be submitted for a special use permit? And
No.
it's, on the one hand here, it's saying
No.
that it does.
No.
On the
it's
bottom
not.
here, let me finish, but then on the bottom here, it's saying that you have 3 years for this.
3 years from special use permit being given
But at the
to
top,
constructing.
it says
The
a
site
wetland
development is the
delineation.
second one.
Okay, so that's what I want to know. A
Yep.
site development permit is not the same as a
Correct.
special use permit.
Think of it as your special use permit's part of your zoning. Your site development permit is your building permit.
And I think that is what is,
Think of it as a house.
Yeah, I'll relate it to the food pantry in Bolingbrook. They gave permission and planning and zoning for them to build a food pantry and they had a concept plan. But it didn't tell you where every outlet was gonna go, where every rafter was gonna go, how much insulation was gonna be used. Once they got the zoning approval, AKA special use permit, then you put in the actual architectural plan, or in this case, the site development.
right, but I think this is where people are coming up with you have to
Oh, I don't
you have to
disagree.
submit a wetland delineation report along with the site development permit
do.
So
application.
maybe you want to
Yeah,
say.
you get to
but
that
I-
point when
I
you're ready
think-
to build.
But I think people are looking at this
And
and
thinking it's part of
thinking that
special use.
site development is the same as the special use permit.
They're idiots if they think that.
Well,
But we have a lot
I'm
of
not
them.
arguing with you.
So
But
maybe
we
you're
get 'em
wanting to
all
say
the
after a
time.
special use
Oh.
permit has been issued.
No, why do you have to
No.
educate them?
Is
I
the
just-
second step.
I
Yep.
just want to clarify that.
We have said that. We
We
have
have.
talked about that is not out of, whatever they're saying, incomplete. It's not incomplete.
It was
Because it's
totally
not even required yet. It's required in the second set. And the land use folks have stood at the
They
podium
have.
and said the
Ad
same
nauseam.
thing.
You,
Like, it is
Come on.
not our,
we have people that think they're
Responsibility to-
sovereign citizens that don't have to follow
Right.
the law.
But
No,
I
they
guess
don't have
what
to
I'm,
pay federal income tax.
Exactly, so you can't
guess
deal
what
with
I'm-
stupidity in these rules.
but we have to deal with it at every, land use meeting now.
But
So I
and
guess my-
understand, and that's your political decision how to deal with, and that's why I'm not on the county board, because I'd look at you and say you are stupid.
I guess,
Aren't you?
Well,
You're on
I've-
solar questions.
I've come close. I guess what I'm wondering is, and maybe this is a stupid idea, I'm willing to acknowledge that. Do we need to say something in here that a site development permit is not a special use permit? That
no,
this is not a
That's like saying black's not orange.
I know.
this is wetlands.
We are
This
scarred.
says that you have to do something with the
Right,
wetlands
but this is
when
where,
you get to the site development permit.
but this is where we're getting.
I know,
all
but
the-
they're not gonna listen, no
No,
matter
this is
what. They're
where-
gonna say tomato, tomato forever and
Good
ever.
point.
Because
This
they
is where
want
the lawyers get it.
Yeah.
And he's
And
trying to
if-
make it work.
and
It's
if-
not gonna work.
And Sherry, if if their lawyer is not educated in the fact that it's different, I'm sorry, they're
I
losing
realize
their money.
that.
They
But
should
it-
have hired better.
It would be nice in a way to be able, because
I had the same
No.
question. Exactly. So
to be able
thank
to
you.
somehow
We are
verify
scarred.
this,
They're all,
yeah.
there's a
We have been
conspiracy.
scarred.
There's a conspiracy.
We have to say it on our own when we sit up there. It can't just be the lawyer saying it, can't just be our people saying it. We as people on the committee have to say, I appreciate that you believe that. However, that is the second step. A site development plan is not a special use permit. Moving
And
forward.
maybe what we
like-
need to say is the
get
ordinance
the
says a
thing-
site development plan, which is not the same as a special use permit. The site development plan is the second step. I mean, we've said that in not so many words, but maybe we need to use that specific language if we can't clarify it.
You
Go ahead,
get-
Phil.
It's not unique to solar farms. I was assigned to the land use committee, went to PGC, and then I went to land use committee, went to the county board to watch what happened. People say the same thing with site development permits with any variance. Well, you got a variance because your swimming pool is gonna be too close to the lot line. Well, I wanna know exactly where that swimming pool is. I wanna know what the site development permit is, and you had to explain to those stupid people the exact same thing, that it's two different things. This approves the concept. When it gets to the actual plans, the staff approves it.
I mean, we have said this over and over again,
But
but
you can't educate stupid people.
no, but what I'm trying to say
They
is
are
that
with you. They want their way.
when I read this initially, I was like, well, wait, here it's saying they have to submit it. Now here it's saying you have 3 years.
But you
What's
just have
the
to
deal?
understand understand the law,
But
and
the
they
3
don't.
years, the 3 years, so you know, is the date of they could have had that study done before they even went for the
Mhm.
variance. As long as the study is within 3 years when they're actually building, they're good. Or 3 years after the fact, they're good.
So
They got a window.
3 years before and 3 years
Or three, well,
after.
3 years before. It's gotta be within 3 years of when you build,
Got it.
either way.
So yeah, it really has been, I'm like, I did find this very confusing when I first read it.
Okay.
Now, if you wanted to address that,
No.
No.
like-
there's, but there,
No.
wait,
Land use
we have a
says to
definition.
people, here's your checklist.
Yes,
Go do these things for your special use
yes,
permit.
I know.
And then they come, and that's between those two people. That's between them.
Turn your mic back on.
This is not for everybody in the audience to know. These two people have sat down and they have said, I want to do this. I want to get a special use permit. And they go, okay, cool. Here's your list. Please go do all these things for your special use permit.
Right, but what I'm saying is, okay, I may not be the smartest person in the room, but I usually get it. I mean, sometimes you guys have to repeat it to me multiple times, but I had to read this several times and I was very confused
But here's
about.
Sherry, you're not in this business, member Newquist.
I'm not,
And the
but-
people that come to our land use department are in the
But our
business. And so are our
ordinances should be
attorneys.
understandable. I
I
mean,
agree with
this to me is very
It is to
confusing.
people that are in the business. You're not gonna go out and build a solar farm.
You
Trust
never
me.
know.
I know. And if you do, you're gonna hire experts who know what this means.
I have the
Well,
same question,
But,
Shelly.
and with all due respect, I'm not,
Yeah.
for me, you read that and I went, oh yeah, the site development permit. That's the second step. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a special use. It's
No.
not the same words.
No. What I'm talking about is it says, now I get that. That was but now it says a wetland delineation report shall be submitted along
Yes.
with the site development permit application. But then in number 1, it says that you basically have 3 years
Right.
of the initial permit application date. So how can you submit a site development plan, or how can you submit a wetland delineation report along with your permit? And then it's saying you have 3 years to submit that report.
You don't have to do the permit with
Immediately.
immediately.
No,
It says a wetland delineation report shall be submitted along with
yes.
a site development permit application.
You have
Yes.
3 years.
So
You have
you
3
can
years to use it in order to get your stuff going.
I think it could be clear.
Yes, because then I'm reading it like that says, that, basically the applicant shall identify the boundaries, blah, blah, blah. Or using an on-site wetland procedure within 3 years of the initial permit application. But it's saying that you have to submit that report. On the one hand, it's saying you have to submit the report along with your permit application, but then it's saying you have 3 years to submit the report after the date of your application. That's what contradictory.
Okay, Mr. Mock, is it?
I don't think so, because you can submit it and they can tell you that's staff related and they can accept it and say, you need to get this permit to us.
But we're being sued because of that line.
There's
So
several.
we can get sued because they don't like the color of the shirt you're wearing. That
agree.
doesn't mean they're gonna be successful.
But can't we clarify it?
You can sue over anything.
Yeah.
Can't
it-
we
Is
make
there
it?
any way to make it
If you
clear?
wanted to clear that up a little bit, maybe under definitions on page 18, site development permit, if you wanted to put language added to it that says this has nothing to do with a zoning application. Do you know what I mean? If
Yeah,
that's their issue.
But I want to know, how can they have to submit? And you guys, if I'm just being obtuse and I'm not
No.
getting it, somebody smack me up the head. But if
No,
you, but
you're too
if
far away.
if we are required, if you're required to submit that report, which it says in C, the first paragraph, and then at the bottom, it says you have 3 years to submit that report. You cannot both submit the report upon the initial application and then have 3 years to submit the report. Which is it?
All right, let me look.
He's looking again.
What page? are
Look
you-
under C.
What, give me the page, please.
It's page 51.
51.
Look at C.
All right, hold on.
I haven't even gotten my questions.
I have one.
All right, I looked at C. Now what, where's that conflicted?
No. but
Take your
it's
time,
C.
Phil.
Yeah, no rush.
I think the
Starts
reason they
off-
say the 3 years.
Wait, let the guy read.
No. Okay, I read C. Where's the 3 year?
One.
It
It's
says,
the number
yeah,
one.
under one, it talks about, the wetland professional and the determination. And it says within
Oh,
3 years of the initial permit application.
That means 3 years prior to.
But it doesn't say prior.
No, but you have
It's
to
within.
submit it, add it, and it says within 3 years of the initial permit
So it-
application, you'd have to have your report prepared within 3 years of the initial application.
So in other words, you can't prepare a report now and then apply for the permit 5 years from now.
No, but you could do the report now
And apply in
within
3
3
years.
years.
But that
It's
doesn't
good,
read
isn't
that
it?
way.
It's
That's
good.
how I'm reading it.
It's good for 3 years?
No,
Is
what
that
they're saying is it's only valid if it's within 3 years.
Correct.
They
right.
won't accept it if it's 4 years
Outside
old.
of 3 years.
So that is, I didn't get that at all.
No,
Like,
that's what I
not
got from
at
it
all.
when I read it.
I'm sure you're right, because that's the only way this makes sense. But just reading it, I'm kind of like, and admittedly, I'm probably biased now because of all the insanity that we've been going through on land.
No, that means,
So,
It's our
that
card.
means your report's no good if it's older
If it's
than
beyond
3 years.
right,
Yeah, I
but
see that
that's
now.
not how that, is there some way we can clarify that? Like the date of the report has to have been done within 3 years of the application?
It's just
like
what it says
prior,
right
you
there.
know.
What you said is.
But it
what that
says 3 years, within 3 years of the initial permit.
They're
Yeah.
trying to say that you can't, let's say I did the report and I pulled out of the project and the next guy comes along 5 years from now and wants to do the same project
Yeah,
and he gets my report.
now
Can't
it
use it.
makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
When
All right.
Phil speaks it,
Are you trying to,
but when I read this, it doesn't make that, I
All
don't
right.
get that.
I am assuming, and I'm going to talk for you, but you'll have to make the motion because obviously I'm not on the board. You would like to strike the word of and put the words prior to in that number one,
Within 3 years prior to?
to the initial permit application instead of, which is how I read
I would take
prior
out
to.
within. I would just say,
It
submit the
says-
report.
With,
Oh, yeah, you have to.
within 3 years prior to the initial permit application date.
Yes, that would do it, I think.
If you took
Like
out
that.
of and
Wait,
put
now you're
prior
saying
to.
me- Wait.
How do you do that?
Now Dawn, the teacher here is.
Now you're saying that,
You gotta do it before you make a permit?
yeah, I have to do it within 3 years of the initial
No.
permit?
Can't do that.
3 years
The presence-
prior to the initial permit?
No, what they're
No.
saying is the report is only good for 3 years. After
Correct.
3 years, if 3 years has elapsed between the date of the report, if more than 3 years has elapsed between the date of the report and the initial
How about 3 years of
Permit,
obtaining?
or the site development permit application, then, and maybe that's confusion too, of the initial permit application. Maybe instead of initial, we need to say site development permit application again.
No, the permanent application is the site development.
What if
Right,
we
but this says of the initial permit. So anyway, but,
The reason it says initial is because they amend their permits.
okay.
Continuance,
So what we're basically
Extension.
saying that is that the report, if there's a report, if the report date is more than 3 years before the initial permit before the initial
And that's what
permit,
it
it's
says.
not good. You need a new report.
And that's why land use staff said it was fine because that's how they interpret it. And they
Okay.
reject them if they don't do it.
Then you know
What
what?
if the word obtaining?
But you know what? Here's the other piece of the puzzle, you guys. No one is sitting on their own, reading this and following the directions. They have come into the office. They've come to land use. They have said, I am doing X. I want this. I want a site development plan now. And land use goes, okay, cool. Here's your checklist for that. Here's this, and this. This is covered in their checklist.
I
And they are
agree.
explaining all this to people. This
Is the
But-
legalese that supports their checklist.
Exactly. And I think if we start trying to make this, changing this up, they know what they're doing. No one is going to take on this policy manual, ordinance manual by themselves
Nope.
to do something in Will County.
You obviously don't live in Green Garden Township.
In the fact that,
There's,
the fact that 20 stupid people have read this, you can't write your ordinance to educate 20
Yes,
stupid
I
people because there's
agree.
20 other stupid people that are gonna
I'm
read
gonna
it
read it the
different.
other way now.
One of the things when we first started the ordinance committee was that we wanted to make it so that it made sense. And if it doesn't make sense, the two of us here, when we first read it, then it's gonna obviously not make sense to some others.
But
So
it
that's
will,
all
but
we're
that's
trying
what,
to do right now. is
but I
make it
think
make
that's what
sense.
member Bullock is saying, that it makes sense to the staff, it makes sense to the attorneys, it makes sense to the people that are coming through. It's these outsiders that are not actually involved
In the process.
in the process that are squeaking. And they have a right to squeak, but
They do.
we also have a right to follow our own ordinance and our own rules. And if they don't understand it, even after we tell them what it says, even if we change it, they're still gonna find another way to argue what we just told them.
I agree with that. I don't think it's gonna really solve anything. I'm just saying, I was so confused by
And,
this.
and yeah, I gotta say, there's been lots of this that I've been confused by, but I don't do this for a living either.
I think
Yeah.
we're a number on this one.
I think we are. As long as now that, I mean, as long as in my brain now, I understand what you're saying. You know, it's within the 3 years, but yeah, you're reading it that
This-
way from the legal.
And that's how a judge would read
I
it if it went to court.
am not. Right, I'm not saying that any of these people would prevail in court. I'm not saying that at all.
She's
I'm just
trying to make
saying
it
I
clear.
would love to make our ordinances a little more clear cut in this matter because it sure in the hell might make my life a little bit easier. That's all I'm saying.
I think one word in this is not going to change your phone call.
Probably not, but you never know.
Not at all.
I just think making our ordinances clear and understandable.
It's an ordinance, it's not supposed to be clear and understandable.
Nope, it's legalese. It's
Well, I-
absolute legalese. to
And I
protect us.
disagree. I think that we should make it as clear as possible. This says that when you are submitting your application, you submit the report, that wetland report at the same time. That's what
Correct.
this says, right?
Correct.
Your
So-
site application, not your special use
Right,
permit
right.
application.
So if you're gonna say that you're submitting them at the same time, then where does the 3 years come in?
Because we have to look at this also as C is the requirements for wetland delineation. One says, okay, in order to have that, you have to have this official person, has to be done within 3 years, it's detail. C is like the, you have to have this. One is detail, two is detail. It's not It's,
It's an
it's not
explanation.
saying something different.
If it
than
wasn't
the
saying that they
seat.
had to be at the same time, I would agree with you, but if you turn them in at the same time, all of that has to be in place, and it does sound like it's supposed to be in place and not just within 3 years.
No, the report it has to be in place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The report that you file cannot be 4 years old.
I get that, but that's not what this says.
Yeah, it does.
No.
It is.
The presence and
No.
extent of the wetland area shall be determined by or under the supervision of a qualified wetland professional using an
That
on-site
report- if
wetland
it said that
procedure
the
within
report that
3
you-
years
If,
of the initial permit.
if it says that the report, that the wetland report is due at the same time that that you're
Yeah.
doing this, then that report cannot be, it should be made plain that as long as that report is does not more, any more.
You
than
almost
3
said
years old.
within 3 years of,
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
yes, you
almost say-
did, yes, you.
All right.
Don, I know what comes out of my mouth, and that wasn't, within was not one of those words. That's what you wanted to hear.
Oh.
But the fact of the matter is, if you turn them in at the same time, then it needs to be made plain initially that report cannot be more than 3 years old.
Okay, under C, without getting to one. I think we could accomplish what Sherry said by saying requirements for wetland delineation, a wetland delineation report dated within 3 years,
Thank
There you
you.
go.
dated within 3 years of the date of application shall
If you
be
wanna
submitted
say
along with the
initial.
site development permit.
If you want to say date of initial application,
Well,
that's
it's
fine
the-
too.
All right,
But yeah,
No,
I'm,
you have to make the motion, dear.
I
but
will
somebody would
make-
have to, but I'm saying, I think that would solve it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
yes, I do
You don't need to
too.
modify to, if you say the same thing again.
I will make the motion to amend per Phil's
Oh, I got one
suggestion.
quick, why is it 3 years?
They just picked that as
That's not-
first
State
2 years.
statute.
Right,
because-
you're 2 years down.
because they thought, from what I was told, and this was a long time ago when they first did this. What I was told was they thought the processes sometimes take that long for the people to decide they want to do it. Because I asked, why not just make it a year?
Yeah, why not make it-
Because
so much
water can
dangerous.
change.
Absolutely.
But what they said is some of these people start out with buying this or paying for this service and it's not cheap before they even
Know what they want to do.
know when they're starting their process, and it takes them a year or two or more to get to where they're ready to file stuff.
And he did all the state
Oh,
and federal
Yeah,
agencies.
we have that right now with the Renwick issue, because they bought that land and
Yeah.
you can't do anything with it now.
Yeah.
But that's why they said that's why they told me at the time it was 3 years, because my suggestion was 1 year. Because I think
it's
everything
1
should be
year.
more
I
current.
think
No,
it's
it takes too long. Takes too
No.
long.
But this is our, 3 years is not state statute.
No, there's no
it's-
state statute.
So this is
It's our
our,
determination, but our land use department thought 3 years was
It's just such
the
a
right
long
time period. What they told me is they don't think, unless people are illegally altering stuff around there, it's gonna be the same for 3 years anyway. Where you get in trouble is when you get the bad people they do the report and then they change all their contours before they bring it to us anyway.
All
I
right.
think the other piece we have to think about with land use is that there are so many times when they come to us for an extension because
Mhm.
something is not done, something is backed up, they're waiting for this
yeah.
piece or that piece. And that's more time on their clock that they're not in charge of. They have no control over. So that 3
Very
years
much.
gives them enough time to make sure that everything is falling in the line that it's supposed to.
I know, but how many times have we renewed
times
the
have we
special use
extended?
permits? I mean,
So Phil, so I do this permit, 3 years, I do the wetland.
Study, yeah.
study.
Next year, tornado comes through, destroys everything, makes it completely different. I can still use that study for my permit.
You could, but if it was a situation that you said, or it was a natural disaster,
It's not in there.
no, but if it was a natural disaster that everybody knew about,
Yeah.
land use would tell them, update the study. They would, and then they could say, I refuse to, and it would go to court and it'd be litigated, but land use would not accept it.
So,
It's in here somewhere.
well, here's another issue, and I think it's in your district, but in Plainfield, there's all of a sudden, birds are migrating to a certain pond, and now that pond is just disgusting. But it's only been within the last 2 years. If they would have done the survey or the permit 3 years ago, that pond would have been perfect.
If it's something you don't know about, you're right, it falls through the cracks.
But if it's a public thing, like a
If it's a-
natural disaster.
Like you said, a
they would
natural
know.
disaster, they'd know about it. And again, if the guy alters his contours of his land illegally, we're not gonna know that
See
either.
that Forest
Seen that.
reserve.
Yeah, we're not gonna know that either, but land use said from their investigations, 3 years was sufficient.
Well, they're the experts.
Well, they're the ones that have to deal with that on day to day.
Yeah.
That changed, did we get a second? and a-
No, I'm waiting for a second and a
Second.
Freeman.
Okay, so
Motion by Newquist, second by Freeman,
Previous. Logan.
previous by Logan. Yeah, go ahead. You're gonna.
So the motion was
To
to.
add the
Phil,
word
could you
dated.
repeat
Yeah,
what you
it will
said?
now read, the wetland delineation report dated within 3 years of the date of the initial permit application shall be submitted along with the site development permit application.
Okay, wait,
Dated
now I'm
was the-
confused. Cause is the initial application the site development permit?
Yes. We're talking about site develop, if you want me to say site
So
development.
say that again.
Okay, a wetland delineation report dated within 3 years of the initial date of the, and I can say site development permit application, shall be submitted with the site development permit application for activities that may impact wetlands.
I think you need to, because if I could say
Fine.
that my initial start of this whole thing was to get a special use permit to be able to do this to begin with.
Oh, no, but we're talking, this whole section is talking
I-
about site development.
I understand that,
Oh,
but
it doesn't hurt to say it twice.
yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody's square on the motion, and we still have a motion by Newquist, a second by Freeman, a
Previous
previous by Logan.
Mike,
We need a second.
you can do it.
We already seconded.
You can do it
We
again.
could do it again.
Second again. We're gonna second again, I'm seconding again.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, now I want to ask a question. Page 5, under the definitions, when it says administrator, the person designated by the county executive to administer and enforce this chapter. Is that David?
Yes,
Okay. And then,
and he's different than the engineer. David's the one that told
Right.
me they got the outside engineer.
right. And then on page 57, and this goes to what member Logan just said. You know, sometimes people, they have their land and, you know, it's got 50 trees on it and they decide, well, maybe a couple years from now, I want to do something with this. So I'm going to go take down the 50 trees.
Mhm.
And they can do it, it's their land, but it does talk here on number 5 about clearing, grading, stripping, excavating, filling in. Is that really illegal? I mean, I know in my village, and I know people are supposed to have a permit to remove a tree. I'm just kind of trying to understand how this applies.
Wait, it says it's not required unless the property is located in a floodplain. And then it goes down to a list. So number 5 is not, you don't need a permit unless it's in a floodplain.
Well, I just mentioned 5 because it talks about clearing.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, 4 talks about clearing, 3, 2, 1, they all talk about clearing. My question is, can people do this as a way to help them in the future and not have to ask anybody? Because we had this, and I want to say it's over in like Lamont Lockport. A dude cut down all the trees
Yeah.
on the property. These guys remember that some of them were in the
We
meeting.
had one down in, I think Troy. Guy bought a old evergreen
Christmas tree.
Christmas tree farm, cut all the trees down. A couple years later, he decided to do something with it.
And that's legit.
Really,
It's not a problem.
well, it should be if it wasn't
Okay.
done to affect drainage issues.
Well, that's what I think the argument was with this property. The neighbors now were having all
Yeah.
these drainage problems. And they were complaining about all this stormwater sitting or flowing down to their house.
But cutting down trees alone,
They took the trees down and then the hills started washing. away.
Yeah, it's one of those scenarios. There's probably more than one, but it's that particular one that I'm thinking of, that concept. And you know, I get it. I get it. It's his land and those are his trees. And if he or she doesn't want those trees anymore, but if it affects the neighbor,
But cutting the trees is different situation
okay,
because cutting the trees causes a death of the roots,
uh-huh,
which causes natural subsurface, the
to
roots.
change.
The roots die, the dirt falls down, that changes it. But that's all natural action. Cutting the tree in and of itself does not change the course of the flow for many years until
I got you.
operation of nature
Actually rots it all
actually
out.
rots out the roots. That's
Okay.
why that's a little different, cutting trees.
Thank you. I appreciate that clarification because,
Because surface water with just stumps there is not gonna, unless the water flow is heavier than how high the stumps would have been, and you're missing an 18-inch diameter tree for 6 inches because the water's that high. But generally, you don't get that unless you're right in a wetland.
and then my other question was on page 83 having to do with special service area ordinances. And I know this is put in there so that the subdivision person can put this together. But can we do that? And the reason I ask, I'm thinking of a couple of specific properties. One that we just approved bulldozing a bunch of houses to alleviate flooding, or at least we're in the process of approving it. And the other one is the Lehman Lyman people with the fact that their wells no longer work. Is this something we or the city of Joliet or somebody can impose on them, a tax
You could
to
have,
help pay for them to get water?
I believe, special service ordinances, areas have to be done by referendum. Everybody has to agree to it.
Okay.
Like Claypool Drainage
You don't do
District.
that when they're building a subdivision.
That's done under homeowners association agreements.
Right.
That's different.
Okay,
Special service areas are not homeowners associated. Special service areas are, again, think library district. It is a special service area to control a certain thing. A lot of times it is water. We have a lot of drainage districts. They maintain
mm-hmm,
the ditches on the side of the roads, the farm tiles they're
Mhm.
responsible for. Creeks, they're responsible for. If it's navigable, it's the state, it's not them. But the trouble is they set these up and they're still in existence and taxing people 50 years later and everything's changed in there's areas in the city of Braidwood that pay in a special service area that have curbs and gutters and water going into sewers and they're still paying special service.
wow. Well, the only experience I have with these SSAs is in Bolingbrook, a brand new subdivision. I think it was Augusta Village. They all are taxed and I think it's for 30 years. I think they had a time specific. And it's because the builder found a way to not include the costs. And I'm going to say for water and sewer, it could have been for roads or any other infrastructure in the price of the home, but actually made it a special service area tax that they have to pay.
It's
And
all over
again,
the
I
country.
don't have it. I just hear people.
They
complain
have
about
it in Manhattan.
Okay.
I don't think the state allows them anymore, but they had a big problem with it. It gave the builders a competitive advantage selling their initial lots because they didn't have to pay
Right.
for the municipal streets.
Right.
It was paid through the special service area and everybody's taxes on the back end for the next 30 years are much higher to pay off what the builders should have been required to pay up front.
Yeah.
The county never approved any of those. People came in and asked us over the years. We've always said no, but some of the municipalities that were greedy for growth
Mhm.
agreed to it.
They do it. Yeah. Okay. That was my only question. Do we have more questions? Okay, go ahead. Member Freeman? Put your microphone over there.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so page 59, required submittals. A generally says all permit submittals. I mean, so that's all of them. And then I guess I just need clarification on this because it goes through the general, you have to have all of your name, address and stuff, and then a different set for your plan set submittal. But if it's a plan, then it also has to include the delineation of pre and post. How do you know that if you haven't had the site permit application? Because this one says all permit submittals
need to have this stuff with them.
So that would be a special permit.
All permits submittals shall include material listed in the sections.
So that would be a special permit. And it says all.
Special use permit requires X.
Mhm.
Then a site development permit requires Y. And the next level requires Z, whatever. It's saying that applicable type of development.
So,
But this ordinance is applying to water resources. It
right,
doesn't apply to
All the other stuff.
all the other stuff. It doesn't apply to a special use permit. A special use permit has its own definition as a zoning issue, not a permit for development. Water resource ordinance applies to permits, and you can get more than one permit. You can get a site development permit to remodify. You can get building permits you may require. Because you're putting a house in with a building permit, that affects water too.
We learned that recently.
because I guess my question there is, when you read through this, it seems like that all of this should also be included with your basic special permit before you get to the second permit.
But it is, except if you gotta look at the heading on page 58. This is for duration and revision to permits. They're talking about what you have to provide them with when you want to extend your permit or you want to modify your permit.
Okay, because I
That's-
thought with the new number required submittals,
Yeah, but you gotta read
you're
it
in a new
in
set.
order.
new
It's talking
sentence.
about duration.
No, it's the whole.
You gotta read them in order.
Okay,
And that incorporates what they're talking about. All permits submittals, which means not just your initial one, but the revision ones and the
Expired.
extension ones, you need this.
Yep.
so that makes sense. See, I just needed help because when I read all, I just got.
Now, you can't read any bits of this just in the ether by itself.
And then the last one I have is on page 75. I didn't get it. 164, 149 effective period.
Yeah, everybody comes back to us after something.
So
expires.
every year they have to come back. That's
Yeah,
why
for
we
the
have.
special use permit, they
Okay.
have to come back.
Okay,
Yeah,
And all
That's
it
all I needed.
basically saying is all variances also are,
yeah.
and why this is in here? Again, I was on land use as legal advisor a lot of years in PZC. They had people that literally were going on their fifth and sixth 6-month extension. And it was determined, we got to put a stop to this.
and that's back to the 3 years.
And that's why we have this language in here now. That tightened up. That's why it's got a lower number than a lot of these. This was added later. And they wanted to tighten it up to say, yeah, we understand you could take a downturn in the economy and need more time to build, but we can't let you string us along
We
forever.
had a house in Naperville in the unincorporated part that had literally been under construction, according to the neighbors, I think for 8 or 10 years. And this tightened that up because this was in 2010, after I got on the board. And I remember hearing about this when I first got on the board.
Okay.
Their
That's all.
neighbors called me.
Jackie, I hate to say
Yes,
this,
no,
but I have
you
one.
got any more? Sure.
Yeah.
Member Newquist?
Okay, this is really simple. It's on page 60, under C. The development plan and associated stormwater floodplain calculations shall be submitted on a digital diskette. Really?
Oh, I saw that too.
Well, I think they would call that one of those jump drives.
Where is that now?
It's on page 60,
60.
under D. Should we maybe change that to on digital media or
It'd be
something
what,
like that?
One,
Yeah,
I know I saw it and I just laughed and moved on.
I know. I was
What's its
cracking up.
number?
It's D, wait.
Letter D, 1, 2.
It's under
3,
one
the sixth
sixty-four
and
point
seventh.
oh 82.
The 6th line under letter D, the large letter D.
Yeah, I
Capital
think if
D.
we just
Oh,
say
there it is.
digital media.
This got
agree.
is
You
the
know.
first word.
And how
Okay.
they get around it, it says in a format compatible, so they
Yeah.
tell them what to do. But
Yeah,
I think media is more appropriate since nobody uses diskettes
Yeah.
anymore.
thank
Digital
you.
media, because who knows, in the
Yeah.
future, you might just attach it, upload it.
Yeah, it'll be.
Maybe it was a floppy disk.
You are trouble.
We would need
No, that
somebody
was
to
the
make an
hardest.
amendment then.
I'll make a motion.
diskette?
that we
Floppy
change
came second, didn't it?
Digital diskette to digital.
Floppy was
media
the big
on
one.
page
Was that first?
60.
Yeah.
We have a motion by member Newquist to change it to digital media from
Second,
diskette.
Freeman.
Second, Freeman, previous Logan, second Bullock, all in favor.
Aye.
Those opposed,
I have no more
motion
questions.
carries. Anything else?
So we need a motion.
Can I get a motion to approve as amended?
Second, Duquesne.
Motion by Freeman, second by Newquist.
I'll get that over to you today or tomorrow.
Is this going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be going to the July Executive Committee. Can I get a previous Logan? Second Bullock, all in favor? Those opposed, motion carries. I am willing to go to chapter 166 and stay a minute or two after 11. But if you all have a lot of
I don't
questions,
prefer in that one.
okay, then we'll go to 166, historic preservation. Too bad that we don't apply our own ordinances to our own buildings, or that courthouse would still be standing.
We
Because
never-
it
well-
is a unique, and it was a unique historic building.
They never
It-
landmarked it though. You guys could have oh, you couldn't. It's in Joliet. You could have went to Joliet and asked them.
We tried so many 6 ways to Sunday. We couldn't get Joliet on our team
Well, you know,
because you
there's-
know why? Joliet wanted it torn down so that they could have their new headquarters there. I mean, the fix was in.
And
is
you
how I
gotta realize
looked at
something
it.
else. There is
Yeah.
a state case that says we don't have to follow Joliet building rules.
Well, nobody told us that. Phil, where were you when we were fighting this battle?
I told the county that when we fought over the jail, the new jail,
Yeah.
when Mesro wanted us to have all these special windows and stuff, and I tell him to go screw himself. That there is a state, we have this law that says we don't have to follow your stinking rules.
Rules, right.
Cause we follow our own rules as a
Right.
county.
It's true.
But nobody wanted to fight that fight, so it cost us $400,000 more for
For
windows to
windows.
make it look pretty.
Oh, geez. Okay.
But
All right. We have nothing from any committee member, just my squeaking, squawking and complaining along with apparently my vice chair, who agrees with me 100%. We could have put the states, we could have remodeled that whole building. It would have been done by now. We could have moved the state's attorney. We could have moved probation, all them people in there. There you go. Motion by Bullock. No, we don't need it for a motion.
Second that.
Second by Freeman,
Still Duquesne.
previous roll Newquist,
Second. motion.
second Logan, all in favor. All opposed, motion carries, and that was the end of my thing. I have no new business. I have no reports.
we're done.
Yeah.
When I met last time with you guys,
Yeah, he told us.
I
this was the
said,
end.
I said, we're done with all the normal stuff.
Yep.
After this, there is listed in our code of ordinances online, stuff that's called like miscellaneous. And I looked them up and actually looked at them. We don't want to address any of them because this is the type of stuff it is. It is every street we've ever accepted. It lists what ordinance it was, even if it was 100 years ago. It is every zoning case we ever passed to allow things. It's just, it has nothing to do with running day-to-day government.
It's a diary.
You're right. It's a diary of what we did to make people look stuff up if they want to.
Yeah.
So this is really, when these move forward, there's no more need for this committee.
Thank you. All right. I get a Tuesday free again.
Microphone on.
Sorry,
Waiting for land use and new solar issues, chapter 158. We did
but
that.
that's what land use is working on, and when they
So that's the
finish,
piece that's.
that'll
And they-
get molded in.
And yeah, it
Yeah.
won't need to go to us because
Nope,
when they
'cause we
do
won't
that,
be
they're
here.
gonna follow our format, not have the little section number in front. Put the statutory authority.
Thank you.
2 years.
Yeah, year and a half, yeah, not that, actually, year and a half.
For 3.5.
Well, y'all had problems in the beginning. I don't know.
So do we need to make a motion or anything to dissolve or is that? something-
No, I'd report just back to executive. You don't need to be there.
We have a rule about that, and the executive committee is supposed to dissolve us, I recall, unless we changed it in our rules last time.
I would wait.
Let me take a look at the
Right.
rules. I mean, I don't think you need to schedule right now because you have nothing
No,
to
we
put on
have
agenda,
to-
but
Because
yeah.
of the old courthouse committee, and what was the other committee? The landfill committee. Anyway, all the arguing over them.
let me
Oh, yeah.
What
let
I
me review
access
the
well.
rules
Right.
and we'll take whatever steps are appropriate with regard
Okay.
to dissolution.
Mr.
Yeah,
Mack?
and again, I wouldn't dissolve or do any of that until after
It passes.
it passes with the county board in July, because if the county board says, I want to remand this back to the committee to change something, you want to be here still. But once it get past the county board, the executive committee will probably, like Chuck says, take care of it.
Yeah, I think they have to dissolve it. So thank you, thank you. Yeah, no meeting next month. I want to thank everybody for their service. I want to thank our Democratic leader for being here. I don't think she's missed a meeting. I don't think so. So I just appreciate it. I appreciate all the work you've done, Phil. I appreciate all the fantastic questions, even though I wanted to hit you in the head with the 2x4. It's okay. It was good. It was very, very good. Phil, we're going to miss you. And I will take a motion to adjourn. Motion Freeman. Second Newquist, all in favor? We're out of here. Like a herd of turtles.